When you don't feel good, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone in your world. Our goal is to help you restore your health so that you can have a transformed life, so that your world and everything in it improves.
That's our purpose. That's our reason for existence, is to help people get on a path of health and wellness naturally. Well, I grew up here in Houston, born in 1950. Mom and Dad had 8 kids. I was the oldest of 8. There were 7 boys. Went to St. Michael's Grade School, St. Thomas Catholic High School. There I met my wife.
Well, I was a cheerleader at his high school. He was the high school quarterback.
After high school, I eloped with her, and we went to Mexico and got married. Subsequently, I went off to the University of Texas in Austin, got a degree in biology, and then came back here and went to the University of Texas Medical School in Houston. When I graduated from medical school in 1976, I did a year of surgery residency at St. Joseph's Hospital here in Houston. And after that, decided that I needed to do something else to be able to make a living. I wasn't going to be able to make a living for the kids being that surgical residency. So I went into emergency medicine, tried to set up a practice in Austin, really didn't go, and I came back to Houston. I didn't have pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, and I had 5 kids, or 6 kids at the time. By then, we had 6. Big families are a lot of fun. And so I went to work for Hugo Gonzalez in his medical practice out on the east side of town. I would see 100 patients a day in his office. After 3 or 4 months, I decided I'm going to open up a night clinic. So I opened up a night clinic on the north side of Houston, and within about a year, the night clinic was generating enough income that I could leave my position with Hugo and open up my own day and night clinic on the north side of town. Come on in, young man. Make yourself at home. By the way, yesterday, Tom, they said you were so strong. I was in family medicine and in occupational medicine. In the general practice of medicine, patients come in with recurrent and chronic problems, and they come back and you give them pills trying to palliate their problem, but they never, ever really get well. And one day in my office, one of our patients came over this was in 1988, came over to my office, and she was from a retirement center, and I asked her, I said, Miss Jones, tell me how you're doing. And she said with a big smile on her face, Dr. Hotze, ever since I threw away all that medication you were giving me, I feel like $1 million. Well, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I thought to myself, this woman's smarter than me, smarter than all the other doctors, smarter than all the other patients, because she knew that those medications were harming her. They made her feel badly, and if they make you feel badly, they're not making you well.
Come on, you want to go out? My name is Erin Mulvaney. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2004. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease. It affects the brain and spinal cord. Currently, there is no cure, and it's potentially debilitating.
Shortly after she started taking interferons, which are self-injections that are subcutaneous injections, she started to act very differently.
I would feel such a disconnect.
And it got to the point where I was out one night and she was sending me text messages saying things that were very incoherent and just nothing like who she was.
You know, my husband came to me and he just said, I can't see you like this anymore.
And then the next day we talked about it, and I told her that this isn't who you are.
I couldn't imagine how hard it must have been for him to say to me, you can't do something that they're telling you is supposed to help you anymore, because I see it firsthand and it's not helping you.
And we just decided that the only difference in our lives were these drugs that she was taking.
And my dad had taught me this. My dad was a very successful entrepreneur. And he told me, son, don't poison your patients like all the other doctors do. Well, Dad came to me in 1988 complaining of chest pain. And the cardiologist evaluated him and decided that he needed angioplasty done. And that's where they put a catheter in and they found out he had a blockage. And so they were going to balloon that and try to squash the cholesterol, so to speak, against the wall. Well, it was calcified, and when they did that, it fractured the artery. It was a catastrophe. We had to have emergency surgery. And the first thing he said is, I don't know what I was thinking. It goes against every engineering principle, and he was an engineer, that I've ever learned. If you have a pipeline that's got a fracture and you put pressure on it, it blows. So that's what happened to my artery. Now he said, here's some literature I received from Dr. Julian Whitaker. 5% mortality in the first year if you have cardiovascular surgery, 15% mortality, that's 15 deaths in 100 if you have angioplasty. If you don't do anything but exercise, lose weight, eat right, take some vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, you have a 1% chance of mortality or of dying. And I said, well, Dad, I wish we'd have tried this. And he said, well, this doctor says I need to take vitamins. What do I need to take? And I was just like a deer in headlights. I said, well, Dad, I'm a doctor. What do I know about vitamins? And I started studying about alternative approaches to health and started studying about vitamins. It made me really reflect on, what if we kept people from having these problems so they never got in a position where they had to have bypass surgery? Are there any other alternative methods to help people heal their heart and clean out their coronary arteries without drugs and intervention? Well, in fact, when I read and studied, I found out, yeah, there were.
He was passionate, just finally excited and passionate about medicine again, that he was truly helping people and he wasn't just giving them a quick fix with a drug. Honestly, he was so fulfilled and excited. I just knew he was gonna go gangbusters.
And I became involved with the Pan American Allergy Society, and I learned from physicians who were treating people for airborne and food allergies. Well, most of the chronic sinus problems and upper respiratory infections and asthma and skin disorders are all related to allergic disorders. So we began to treat for those problems with the methods that I learned through Pan American Allergy, and people got well.
I'm a land manager on the Texas prairie. I had a heat stroke. I survived it. However, afterwards, I wasn't the same. I'd lost my heat tolerance. I'd lost my thermostat. I couldn't regulate my body temperature. And basically, it was you have to learn to, one individual told me, well, you've got to learn to live like a lizard. You lost your strength, you lost your stamina. I dreaded reaching out to shake another man's hand because the pain was so excruciating on my forearm, you just about collapsed. And I spent the last well over 10 years in absolute misery. My business suffered. I lost a fiance. Really, nothing looked very bright. But then the time came when you just didn't know how much longer you were going to be alive. And I didn't want to die. So I went in.
He had been open in the Katy area for about a year, and he was in the process of trying to convert his little family practice to an allergy practice.
So we had a 4-point treatment regimen. We treated for airborne allergy, food allergy, yeast, and then we treated for vitamin and mineral supplementation.
Then the allergies took him into, ladies were coming in with chronic fatigue.
I was really experiencing extreme fatigue, inability to focus. I was gaining weight. My menstrual cycles were really off. So just from a female perspective, it was clear things were changing. So there was just a lot of frustration and anxiety, kind of just that not knowing what the next day was going to bring.
When my son went to kindergarten, I was almost at the end of my rope right then. So I just wanted to put a knot at the end of the rope and hang on. If you had known me before, and my husband knew that I've just lost my wife because she's just not herself.
It was in 1992 at another Pan American Allergy Conference that a good friend of mine, Dr. Richard Maybury, said, Steve, you need to start treating your female patients for hypothyroidism. A lot of them have low thyroid condition.
I think hypothyroidism is tragically one of the most misdiagnosed issues we have in medicine, in this country anyway, today. One of the biggest problems is the lab range. And the point is with hormones, thyroid, any hormone, each individual has their own individual normal range. You can be in the population range and not be in your range. It's a silly example, but I'm 5'9". If I wake up tomorrow at 5'8", that's a normal height. The problem is it's not my height.
We started to check this, and we found that a large proportion of our women guests were making antibodies to their thyroid gland.
What they discovered for me is that my thyroid was off.
There are many, many, many symptoms that can be caused by hypothyroidism. Things like low energy, fluid retention, swelling, cold hands, cold feet, sensitivity to cold, hair loss, unexplained weight gain or difficulty losing weight, mental sharpness goes down, short-term memory goes down, moods go down.
I never thought I would need extra thyroid. My adrenal glands, I learned later, were shot. The other hormones had declined. And so I needed the thyroid just to help everything get rebuilt.
And we began to treat them with thyroid, and my gosh, they got well, and their energy came back, and they began to think clearly, and they could sleep well, and their joint muscle pain went away.
The traditional doctor is going to look at the lab. The nurse is going to come in and say, you're fine, you're in the normal range. That lady is going to leave. She's still depressed. She's still gaining weight because they're not listening to her. They're looking at the lab.
The problem is not just the hypothyroidism. People that are hypothyroid have a higher rate of heart attack, stroke, and cancer. So this is about how do I feel now, but it's also about my future health and wellness.
One of the great things about Dr. Hotze is that he has this real zeal, this zest for adding to his repertoire in terms of knowledge of the conditions that we really want to address with our treatment program.
Every time we added a new point to the regimen, it was always because I asked myself, well, a certain number of these patients got well on the current regimen, but some of them aren't getting well. What else is going on? Well, it was in 1996, I received a monograph, which is a small book from Dr. Julian Whitaker. I wanted to see what Dr. Whitaker said about thyroid hormones, and he was doing the same thing I was doing with thyroid hormones, and I felt vindicated, and I felt I was doing right. But I also read and hear about other natural hormones, testosterone, female hormones, estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, pregnenolone, melatonin, and how they could be used in treating patients. I had never heard of that before.
There had to be something inside of me that took up for myself, that said, you deserve to feel better than this. And I actually had to be on my side too. And when I allowed myself to believe that, I dropped my medication that day, emailed my neurologist, and immediately got online and started researching health and wellness doctors. That's where I came across Dr. Hotze. They put you on a full plan. Taking vitamin D, this awesome power pack of supplements. I did the yeast detox. I was having my hormones regulated and my thyroid. This is a game plan.
With the addition of bioidentical hormones for these women, and in some cases men, it was like the final frontier for them in terms of their health, and the results were just so astounding.
How about the, is it inositol? What is it, Adderall?
By the time 2002 arrived, we had taken over the entire 20,000 square feet of that building. And in it currently right now, we have 3 enterprises. We have Hotze Health Wellness Center, we have Physician's Preference, which is our vitamin store, and we have Hotze Pharmacy, which compounds only biologically identical hormones. And we're growing, and our goal is to continue to grow so that we can provide value for those people that come to us who want to get their lives back.
Many years ago, Jack Dempsey was receiving a sportsman's award. He said, "Champ, what is your secret for becoming the greatest heavyweight champion of all time?" He said, "Well, I got back up one more time than I got knocked down." When you're on the Hotze program, it's not hard to get back up. You just bounce up and keep going. In about 4 hours, it kicked in, and I felt like $1 million. And then I was a little afraid that it wouldn't last. It was too good to be true. Until I realized this is my life now. About 2 months into it, I was brushing my teeth one morning, and I stopped and I looked in the mirror. Oh my gosh, I was ripped. I haven't been ripped since I was 30 years old. In fact, I'm pushing 63. I can do as many push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups as when I was a senior in high school.
At the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, we've treated tens of thousands of people since 1996 or so. This groundbreaking approach has literally helped thousands and thousands of people get their lives back.
There was a time when I went to my general physician, and every time I had something wrong, he would just give me another pill, and I woke up one day and I had 7 or 8 bottles of different things, this for this, this for this, this for this.
You keep spending money with doctors and you keep finding out they're not treating anything and you're not feeling better. I was living with pain for at least 10 years. I feel more alive and more excited about life now than I've felt in years. And as a direct result of my visit to Hotze Health and Wellness.
You leave the center with the hope. You knew you were going to make it.
Hi, welcome to Health and Wellness Solutions on 700 AM KSCB, the voice of Texas. On the show today, we have the one and only Dr. Stephen Hotze. How are you today?
Brooke, I'm doing great. Thanks so much. It's our goal to challenge your thinking and to cause you to make some decisions that would enable you to take charge of your health.
We established a reading program, and in that we select a book for the entire staff to read each month and then write a report and submit it. It's really helped us to stretch ourselves and continually upgrade the products and services and the style in which we deliver that to our guests.
We're also training other physicians, not only here in Houston, where we've trained 18 physicians, but across the country. We feel like we have a duty and a responsibility to educate the public on how they can resolve their health problems. In 2005, my first book was published, Hormones, Health, and Happiness. Since that time, that book has been printed in hardback in over 85,000 copies that have been sold and distributed.
I can almost go back and pinpoint, after reading the book, that's why that happened to me.
My new book is entitled Hypothyroidism, Health and Happiness, The Riddle of Disease Revealed. There are literally tens of millions of other Americans who are suffering from this problem who don't even know about it.
He's going to give information that the people need to hear.
So once I hurt my ankle because I was jumping on the trampoline, and then one day I went to my granddaddy's house, and then I hurt it again. Then he had to check on me. And that's the story of Granddaddy.
Steve never followed the crowd in anything, any part of his life.
He is a leader, always has been.
Steve has an uncanny ability to never know a stranger.
He holds people very, very dear to his heart.
And I think he just felt like he was kind of called to really treat people.
Really the center of our being and our existence is our faith in Christ.
And God has given Steve those kind of abilities where he really, I think, it could accurately be described as a 12-cylinder kind of guy.
Father in heaven, we thank you so much for the food we have to eat.
Whether he's visiting with neighbors or conducting business or leading seminars or training, his priority is to honor God with his life.
I don't miss a beat now. I'm doing this naturally. I'm fighting multiple sclerosis naturally. That's huge success for me. You have gone so long feeling so bad that 3 weeks into a program that you're on, you feel like a different person. Everything felt better.
Your prime should not be over at 40. It's just starting.
My only regret in life is that I did not do this sooner, that I did not come see Dr. Hotze sooner. It's changed the way I live my life.
On Sunday afternoons, I spar with 26-year-old black belts in my backyard. I win.
That was the best guy. I'm serious. They said he was by far.
Probably a phrase that he says the most is, "Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?"
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Are you sick of, oh my God, how am I forgetting this?
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and think that you may have hormonal imbalance, then contact us at the Hotze Health Wellness Center today.
Because being so sick and tired makes he has the medicine to make you less
Not
sick
sick
and
and
tired.
tired, yeah.
The whole purpose of our existence is really to create value in the lives of our guests. And the value they want created is they want to get their health back. Because we believe if you're alive, you might as well feel alive and not be part of the walking wounded or the walking dying.
If they have any of these symptoms, they owe it to themselves to get it checked out. It's like, why would you not want to go to somewhere and, put back into your body what God gave you and get your life back?